Hello and welcome to another AIC video. Today we're doing a quick look at this Smith & Wesson 5906. So I picked this up just a couple of days ago. I purchased it on Sportsman Guide. Final price was about $305, shipped to my FFL. And of course I had a transfer fee to pick it up from them. So like I said, I've only had it a couple of days, haven't had a chance to take it shooting. I have a trip planned to the range here in the next few days. I have a few firearms I want to go shooting with, take my kids out. But I want to do kind of a before and after of this firearm, kind of give my initial impressions and my impressions after taking it to the range. A couple things. First of all, obviously, this gun, I haven't fired it, haven't loaded it. It's nice and clear. So no danger to anybody, including myself. A little danger to my pocketbook, but not too bad. But what really attracted me to this gun, a couple things. One, this is not my only police trade-in firearm. So I have a Smith & Wesson 10-5 revolver from the 60s. That was also a police firearm, as far as I can tell, based off serial number, some other pieces of information. So now I have two Smith & Wesson firearms that were originally a law enforcement weapon that has then been returned to civilian hands. So I like that about it. They're both made by Smith & Wesson. They're both all metal guns. I also like the overall look and aesthetic of the firearm. I have here one of my favorite guns, one of my 1911s. And you can see that there is a fairly striking resemblance between the two. The Smith & Wesson does not have the grip safety, though it does have a magazine safety, which the 1911 does not. They both have single action triggers that are pretty good. I will say the 1911 is a little bit better, but the Smith & Wesson does have a single and dual action trigger. So we'll go over that here in just a second. And this gun is really a cross between that 1911 and kind of the next generation of striker fire pistols made out of polymer. So this is kind of the new age generation of firearms. It's the it brings a lot more technology to the table, where this is kind of that half step in between. It is an all stainless steel gun, so it is not light. It is very heavy, but it definitely brings some more modern touches to it than, say, the 1911. Like I said before, put the magazine back in, just because it does have that magazine safety. You saw it's unloaded. We have a single action trigger, and it is also double action. And if we go ahead and cock it, and it has a safety which decocks the firearm, and so you can store it on safe. When you're ready to fire, that first pull is a double action. So as far as the trigger goes, it is quite heavy on double action, but it is very smooth with almost no take up on there on that double action. And as far as the single action, there's a fair amount of take up, which is not uncommon on a double action firearm and single action. And as far as the trigger pull goes, a little bit heavier than my 1911, but it's not, I'd say probably about 7-8 pounds, somewhere in there. So not quite as light as the 1911, but definitely not as heavy as some other striker fire pistols that I've used. But as far as things like disassembly, this gun is really simple. So like the 1911, it has this takedown lever here. We have a notch, so you have to slide till you hit the notch, and that just pops out. Super simple, super easy. And then it just, if you don't have the magazine in there, magazine pops out and it just comes apart for a quick field strip and clean. And you know, you have to have the magazine in there to be able to pull the trigger, but you can't have it in there if you're disassembling it. And then to put it back together, well, before we go there, one thing I love about the design of it is you have the rails back here, But then also up here, it rides on these rails for the front. So it's it should be a very smooth, very clean recoil on this firearm, because it has both that support in the back and the front. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting, and maybe this is just me, you kind of have to push down on this bar right here to have the slide come back. Then once again, and I just oiled everything, so it's a little oily here. Put your guide right back in there. It just pops right back into place, and we are good to go. Function check. All right, so again, just an initial look of the firearm. Love the way it looks, love the way it functions. I do need some more magazines. I do have a replacement grip coming. This one's a little rough. I have a wood grip. See if I like the wood grip over plastic. I can get a new plastic one for like 20 bucks. So, but I'm gonna hold off, see if I like the wood grip more. Hopefully I like the way it looks. As far as the finish goes, it is pretty scratched up. That is kind of the charm of buying a police trade-in, is that it is already well used. But I may go ahead and actually refinish it. Not sure. We will see. So looking forward to taking this to the range, having a good time with it, putting a few rounds through it. If you have any questions, or if there's anything you'd like to see before I go to the range, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll do my best to answer those at the range. I have some different ammos and stuff for some of my firearms that's coming in, that I plan on doing a video on those as well. So anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.